So this week, I absolutely swear, scouts on a dib 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 and all of that bollocks, I had the honest intention of sitting down and scripting a really bloody good intro for this show. And then the strangest thing happened. I decided I couldn't be fucked.
Tech Spurt Weekly!
So I guess you're probably expecting some kind of tech news roundup right about now. Although you're also possibly hoping for some kind of actual show intro, and how did that work out for you? But seriously, it's been an incredibly dry week as far as tech goes. No notable phone launches, not even a sexy Bluetooth speaker to talk about. Absolutely zip. It's been about as thrilling as an all-day marathon of Mrs. Brown's Boys. That said, this past week I did at least finally get a chance to get my mitts on the Oppo X 2021, a 6.7 incher that grows bigger in your hands, innuendo most certainly intended. It's just a concept phone, so don't expect to see them on shelves when you nip down to Argos for a garden hose and a pack of polyfiller, but that rollable screen is some seriously funky tech that will hopefully make it into a proper retail product soon. The display is actually curled up inside of the chassis, kind of like a scroll, expanding to 7.4 inches when you double push this side button, with the UI stretching out in a proper clever fashion as that phone gets bigger. I could play with my expandable pocket rocket all day long, and I also quite like this phone. And yeah, as far as actual tech news goes, we're not just scraping the bottom of the barrel here, we've tunneled right through the bottom of the barrel and we're halfway to f***ing Australia. Seriously, the biggest excitement was when Tag Heuer launched a Mario watch that is admittedly very cute, and it does boast exclusive Mario animations that will brighten your day and distract you from how absolutely shit everything is. And that is until you realise you've spunked over $2,000 on this thing, which you could have spent on about a dozen cases of single malt, which would do an even better job of numbing the pain of your everyday existence. And yeah, I know that this is specifically a Mario watch, but there's definitely nowhere near enough Princess Peach action for my liking. And what's that? You actually want one? Well, they are available now, but there's only 2,000 in existence, so you will have to get a wriggle on. Those orphan kidneys definitely will not harvest themselves. Anyway, that really is it for this week's tech news, unless you really want me to bang on about an Apple battery pack or the Samsung Z Fold 3 latest leaks. I mean, frankly, I think I'd rather shove a rabid ferret down my pants, Yorkshire coal miner style. So yeah, f it, that means it's time for the part of the show that really badly needs to be shoved in a sack and drowned in the nearest well. Oh yes, it's viewer comments.
Viewer comments.
So let's kick off this week with Paul Taylor, who says, when will Nintendo make a phone? I've been waiting for years. I mean, you might be waiting a little bit longer for that one. Not really sure that Nintendo should be making a phone anyway. I mean, you know how this stuff goes. You remember this Sony Xperia Play from back in the day? What a god-awful piece of shit that was. I see you're probably much better off just slapping a Game Boy emulator on your current phone. Job done. Next up, Paul Bewley says, never mind all this tech nonsense, Chris. What tech nonsense? I wish to God that there was actually tech nonsense for a change. But I digress. Paul says, never mind all this tech nonsense, Chris. Where is Mr. Wanksock? Why, he's right here. Hello, Mr. Wanksock. Sorry, what's that? Sorry, it looks like his lips are all gummed up again. Hang on, Mr. Wanksock, I'll help you out. There we go. All better.
Oh, you utter bastard!
So how are you doing today, Mr. Wanksock?
No, fucking horrible!
No, how come?
Why do you think? Because I've got a rotten case of pink eye, you bald twat stick!
Oh dear, I'm really sorry to hear that, Mr. Wanksock. How did you get pink eye?
You know exactly how I got pink eye!
Right, well, see you later then, Mr. Wanksock.
Don't you dare, you bald fart!
Anyway, on with the show. Next up, Jim Smart says, liking the look of that Snapdragon phone, do you have a full review of its Spurty? Not yet, unfortunately. I have requested a sample from Qualcomm though, mostly because I want to see if I can actually review it and make it to the very end, saying smartphone for Snapdragon insiders without absolutely pissing my pants. I gotta say, I'm not entirely convinced by the design of it, and that name, I'm sorry, it's worse than having a barrel of AIDS injected directly into your eyeball, but the actual hardware, the specs, sounds pretty good indeed, and as an overall package looks very enticing. Next up, sorry, absolutely no idea how to pronounce this username, Sugistu says, it'd be good to see you do a phone of the year so far vid. The usual suspects only include the obvious mainstream brands and their flagships. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly soiling my trousers in surprise and shock at that one, to be honest. I mean, I can already tell you exactly what the best smartphone of 2022 roundups will be this time next year. So it'll be Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, probably a bit of Z Fold action as well. You'll have your iPhone 13 Pro Max edition, whichever one costs, you know, fucking $2,000. You'll probably have a Xiaomi Mi 12 Ultra and like an Oppo Find X4 Pro or something thrown in there as well for a bit of diversity away from Samsung and Apple. Yeah, not a single of them under $1,000, all delivered with a shit-eating grin. And I'm not going to do a best phone roundup in July. What a fucking waste of time anyway, apart from, of course, clicks please. And secondly, like as it is, I try and sort of round up the best phones at certain price points, at least if you've got a set budget in mind that can hopefully steer you in a certain direction. And even then, to be fair, when I do those best phone roundups, they're usually out of date within about a month or so because there are just so many bloody phones launching. Sujitsu also says, and yes, Big Chungus sends his regards. Okay, so this is clearly an internet thing that is completely sailed over my head. What actually is Big Chungus? I've heard this mentioned a few times. Okay, so he appears to be Bugs Bunny's chubby cousin, basically. Oh no, wait, hang on, he actually is Bugs Bunny, but like after too many Greg's steak bakes or something. I don't understand. I just need more alcohol. I mean, this is basically how Bruce Willis feels in like every movie he's done post Hudson Hawk. You know, everyone's like, oh, you're an analog guy, Bruce. You're too old to understand what's happening. Burp, burp, burp. That's exactly how I feel whenever internet memes present themselves. Next up, Raptor8 says, is that an Indiana Mouse t-shirt? It was, yes. One of my specials from back in the day from QWERTY, quality site. I haven't ordered anything from there for a good long time. I'm assuming it's still a thing. Grumpy Cat says, ferret legging sounds like a party. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely need at least a barrel full of grade A alcohol before I even considered shoving anything with claws and teeth down my pants. You know, I guess this was the days before Netflix and internet porn, so, you know, they had to work with whatever they had. Next up, Soam says, would it be reasonable to buy an S20 Fan Edition now, or should I wait for the S21 FE? Well, I am still definitely a fan of that S20 Fan Edition, the 5G model with the Snapdragons inside, none of that Exynos's. But of course, there's heavy rumours about the S21 Fan Edition launching imminently. There's been quite a few leaks online recently. So I would say, even if you are tempted to buy the S20 Fan Edition, maybe hang on just a little bit longer. That price should hopefully be getting seriously discounted as soon as the S21 FE gets launched. Extra savings means extra booze funds. Hip hip hooray, happy days. Next up, Dermot says, was that reference to being born into a rich family a sly dig at Mr. Who's the Boss? No, I honestly don't know a single thing about Mr. Who's the Boss other than his grammar could use some help. He was born into a rich family, fair play to him, you know, merry fucks and all the rest of it. Yeah, no, it definitely helps in this YouTube biz if you do have a good bit of funds behind you, because then you don't have to bother getting a real job or anything. Next up, Channel JMC says, hopefully by the time you read this comment, football will finally be home. Yeah, sorry to break it to you, pal. I guess if you live in Italy, then yes, football is well and truly home. Time has once again buggered right off without us, so better make this the last comment of the week, unfortunately. But Zachary says, you seem like a man of distinguished tastes. What's your favourite breakfast cereal? And what's your preferred single malt to pour in it? I've got to admit, I don't really eat cereal anymore. I'm definitely all about meat in the mornings, and God, does that sound wrong. I did used to love a good bit of Pop-Tart action in the mornings. Chocolate Pop-Tarts, very nice indeed. But then I suddenly developed aspirations of living beyond my 30s, decided maybe that's not such a good idea. So I swapped to a healthier diet of sausage, bacon and fried toast. And as for single malts for breakfast, come on dude, I'm not an animal. I mean, never before 10 AM. So a huge thank you and a cheeky grow up to everyone who left a comment last week. Sorry if I didn't manage to get around to yours. I had lots of great comments there as always. So always warms the cockles of my heart. Thank you very much. Please do smash your comments down below. Try and barrel our way through as many of those as possible next week. Hopefully we'll have some actual tech news next week as well. Speaking of that, let's have a bit of a squint at the old calendar. And baste my sausages. Yes, we've got a good bit of OnePlus launch action next week, Thursday the 22nd, around sort of 3:45 in the afternoon UK time. Expect some hot video action to be landing on the internet. And that's it so far, but hopefully some more shenanigans going on as well. Got a couple more pre-briefs and stuff on the go. There will be quite a lot of stuff happening towards the end of July and the start of August, touch wood. So all that remains is for me to say thank you very much again for joining me to the end of this shower of shit. Please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell if you haven't already, and have yourselves a fan-bloody-tastic weekend. Cheers everyone, love you!